Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing a reaction video today to things that you have tagged me in online, whether that be on Instagram or TikTok, whatever. As I always like to say in these videos, creativity and individuality have no rules, but makeup has a theory. So let's take a look at what you have been sending me or tagging me in this week.
Why this happened to me when I was done with her makeup, done setting and everything. And it happened to both eyes, not just one. So that's why I'm fixing both eyes. So I tried to just go in with the lighter concealer and it just didn't work. And y'all, I was literally about to crash out. My other client's appointment was literally in 5 minutes, y'all. And this was her prom makeup. So just imagine how she was feeling and how much I was just about to just, go off in my motherfucking head. But I had to trust the process just because it happened to me before. And y'all, I was able to fix it on my own self. Okay. And it's never happened on a client before. So I'm glad I got to, work on it and fixed it. So guys, what I did was I went down and I wiped it out. And I used a darker concealer instead of a lighter concealer. And then I went in with my pressed powder and applied that just like normal. And then applied my loose powder, which you've seen here right now. I'm applying it. And y'all, I let that set for a little bit because I was running out of time. And I was running out of, I was just running out of patience and everything. Because my client was literally outside waiting at this point. Y'all, it still came out good. Based on my opinion, this is my first time trying to fix something like this on a client. And honestly, I don't hate the way it looks. I feel like if I had more time, I would have done a better job. You guys give me your opinion and tips on what I should have done instead. Thank you guys for watching. Next time.
So I went just and have a quick look at this profile. In the comments as well, someone's like, you have to use, your disposables when you're doing makeup, which is true. And this makeup artist knows that. They were just like, I was panicking. That panic set in when I had all these clients and I had to get their makeup right. And I just rushed. I know I should have used disposables. That's not what I do at all. Here's the situation, right? If we look here, this to me looks like there's been some leakage because you can see here it's come from this area here. There's been some eye leakage and it's transferred here, whether that be from the lashes. Sometimes you stick a lash on and someone's eyes water and it sits on the false lash and then it gets down here and it's broken down the makeup. This happens a lot. This happens to everyone. And let me just say, sorry, before we go into this makeup artist, we have all been there as makeup artists. When you do something, you're on a time limit and something goes wrong and fucks up and you're like, shit. And this panic sets in. I think I spoke about it before on reaction videos, and I call it like makeup artist panic, where you're just like, you try and do everything to fix it and you don't kind of take a second because you don't have a second to think, what should I be doing in this situation? So this is a water breaking down product issue, right? Or a leakage issue. And if you have built up a lot of product here and here, if you've done your powder, you've done your concealer and that already, this whole area is going to be uneven now. Full stop. There's not really much you can do. What you can do is don't build up your product. And this goes for anyone who leaks out the side here. Don't build up your product like you would normally. Don't then put your concealer on and then your powder. You now need a new base. You almost need to make yourself a new skin texture. It's like, have you ever had your brows waxed or your brows threaded, and for some reason, although you shouldn't, you go and put makeup on top and the makeup doesn't sit? You need to create a new texture for that makeup to cling onto, because it is no longer going to sit on this type of skin, this type of wet skin. Eyeshadow primer. Straight up eyeshadow primer, not that like slippery Urban Decay one. I'm talking Sigma eye pencil, MAC paint pots. Tap that down, let it get waxy, let it sit and dry. Then go on top of your concealer or your powder and just blend it on out. You need a new surface texture for your makeup because it is no longer going to sit on skin. I do not know why. I don't know why that happens. Same with eyeshadow, eye primer, then go on. I don't know why this happens. But yes, she builds up concealer, but she's also going to be building up this concealer on all these other textures that she has, other products. I think she covered it really well, but you can kind of see where she panics and just builds it up and builds it up and builds it up. That could have been quite an easy fix. But it's difficult when you're in a situation, your head's like, oh my God, what do I do? Okay.
That bitch does her makeup. So Keep watching. I always use these First Aid Beauty Radiance pads. I'm addicted to them, and I use them on all my clients, no matter what skin type they have.
So I think this is quite long, so I'm going to pause as we go through. Pads like that, exfoliating pads, the daily ones, such a fucking lifesaver. If you've ever done as a makeup artist or your own makeup and one day your skin is just textured and you're like, why does my skin look like this? Why does it look like cornflakes? Why am I textured all around here? Those exfoliating pads have come in so what's the word, handy. I use the Elemis ones. They're incredible.
Air brow gel just to kind of darken my brows. I don't really need to do a lot of filling in, so this is really all I do. My voice is so deep today. I don't know what side of the bed I woke up on, but I'm like a fucking man. I don't know what's going on. I like to go back and forth in between my brows and my skin prep because it keeps it from like pilling on me.
That's a great idea. Sorry, I'm going to be pausing this a lot because sometimes your brow products need to sit for a little bit and like set or harden, especially like brow pomades or brow gels need to like sit and do their thing. And so does your skincare. So if you're going backwards and forwards in between the two, you're giving each of those products a chance to set or do what they need to do. While at the same time, you're not wasting time because you're doing the steps you would have done anyway.
Letting every product soak in before I layer another, which usually is the cause of pilling in my case.
Absolutely.
And this Merit Glow, it really does give you like glass skin. Now I'm carving out my brows with the Armani concealer.
I love carving out brows. Why do people not do it as much anymore? I think it's such just a beautiful touch to makeup.
Biggest tip I have is to not press down when you're doing this because it just pushes the concealer in your brow hairs and then ruins the whole crispiness we have going on. To go over top of it just to soften it the tiniest bit. Ooh, this is beautiful. Always the best part. I love snatching myself.
I love that. You guys would have seen me do that as well with concealer. I don't care what goes on this corner because I know I'm just gonna with concealer, you know.
The Dior Show mascara. I love this.
Wow.
These little lash clusters off Amazon. I use like the longest and then the second longest on the under edge. Difference is subtle, but it really just makes the entire eye look. Oh wow. NYX Face Glue. It's the tackiest primer I've ever tried, and that looked like I saw my man or something. Use the Pat McGrath foundation. I haven't used this in like a century, so hopefully this goes well. The shade match is good, but God, I really need to go tanning. I'm sick of being pale.
You know what though? I love it when people match their skin tone and then add in the bronze later. You know what I mean?
The List bronzer stick. I never like to dab creams on this on my face because I'm always scared it's gonna lift my foundation. I don't care if you say it doesn't. I'm not gonna risk it.
Some do. Some lift and some don't. That's absolutely a valid concern. Sorry, I lost the word there.
I'm gonna be snatched, so I'm gonna use the Say bronzer and salt. This is a liquid, so I do put this on my face. And with this Patrick Ta brush to really get in there and like hit your cheekbone. Road Blush and Freckle has been my shit recently. Draw where I'm gonna highlight my nose right here. So far, this is honestly lighter coverage than I normally do. You can kind of see my freckles through, so that was my goal. See,
you know what I love though? This to me is what a lot of people would consider a full glam look. I like to go a little bit more, but if a client said to me, I want full glam, I'll be like, what does full glam mean to you? And usually it's this. But she's used minimal product to have this maximum effect. So like full glam, full coverage doesn't always mean a shit fuck loads of product to get a result like this. You can absolutely wear loads of product, but this goes to show you can still get a beautiful result and not do too much.
And boom, we are bad bitchified. This would be good for like prom, I guess. I don't know where you'd wear this. I just go to Target like this. I hope you guys actually learned something. Bad bitches.
Love that look. I think it's stunning. Again, it just goes to show you don't need that full face of everything. You can do, but I'm just saying for those of you out there who want like a full glam look but don't want like this, for example, you want something a little bit more... So to me, it's not subtle, what's the word? Neutral, I guess, because it's not natural. You can also do that. Nice. Chin contour. Okay, let's talk about this. Because a lot of people, when you see them do a chin contour, they will just shade this whole area one shade and call it quits. Which I mean, I guess at some point will give you that chin contour look. But One thing I often say with contour is you often need depth and definition, but also comparison to make a contour, right? Like if I made this part lighter off my face, this bit in comparison will look deeper, so therefore the contour will be more noticeable. So what I really like about this, because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. It might look a bit crazy because she's drawing on her chin, but we draw on our face with contour too a lot of the time, is this comparison. She has the deeper shade, but she is also providing light in areas where that's going to give this more of a subtle... You see how this lightness here and this brightness, in comparison, this shade looks a lot deeper and a lot more obvious than it would if it was just a line. And having this mid-tone as well almost gives you like a sub-shadow. You know what I mean? So it's not quite bronzer and it's not quite contour either, but it's almost like the shadow is blending nicely into the contour shadow. So it's not just suddenly line. You know what I mean? It's blended in nicely. It's almost like blending a blush into your bronzer or contour. I really like that, and I think I would have been sent this because it looks crazy to be drawing on your chin, but people contour their chin. Okay, let's have a look at this. I was tagged in this so many times.
All right, okay, we're checking scissors. We're filling up one hole with blush and the other hole with light concealer, and then this. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Watch that swipe. Okay, we see product. We see it. It's gone. You know I love a crafty, made-to-go viral hack. Just don't lie about the results.
Yeah, come on.
You wiped it off. But heck, we're still trying it. Let's go. So we're going to take the scissors and we're going to place them like here. Okay, now just keep it there because...
One thing I would say, right, a hack is meant to make life easier. But what is this doing in terms of a hack? Are you unable to choose these two circles without having a stencil there? Could you not just be like, because the scissors aren't being necessarily lined up with any particular part of the face. Also then doing these two areas here, why can't you just do a finger? They don't have to be triangles. Also, why is there a gap in between? This makes no sense. And as Nikki, I think, is pointing out here, it is kind of just for clicks, which, you know, go on.
The blush goes in here. Lighter concealer goes in here. Contour goes like this. Oh, God. Oh, okay.
Like, what's
Great.
the point?
She just swipes it. She just swipes it like this, and all she does is swipe it out. I don't really...
Then you're just putting on cream blush like you would normally. Are you not?
The swiping, because it's going to remove my foundation, so I'm going to do a little bit of a pouncing on these hacks. Now, same goes for the contour. She just swipes.
Right. It's that same thing again. If you are doing patches on your face, it can look patchy. Not always, but it can do. So if you are doing shapes on your face, and I don't mean the occasional line, but if you are doing a circle, a triangle, you're having to blend out a circle and a triangle. It's so much easier to load your brush with product and then go ahead and buff it onto the face. This person in particular is kind of known for these videos. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm afraid I'm not going to like this one. Okay, wait, let me try and blend this out.
You can fix it easy because it's just putting on... Sorry, I'm shouting at a video. You can fix it easy because it's just eventually how you're going to put on your blush and your bronzer.
Blending.
Contour.
She's cute. Definitely did not need scissors for that.
Right.
Yeah, I did not think that worked, but get your views, honey. Get them.
It is for views. Okay, what we got?
Still applying your foundation like this, just stop. I'm going to show you a better way. Applying too much pressure and dragging the brush all over your face is going to mess with your skin prep, your primer, and then you wonder why you have texture or why you're not getting the coverage that you want. So instead, pump your foundation on the back of your hand. With your brush, you're going to pick up this foundation fully. No, it's not wasting a bunch of product because the product is all in the brush. When you're doing this, you're distributing the product evenly along all the bristles. Then you're going to apply with light tapping motions. You're simply pressing the foundation into your skin. This way you're not disrupting your primer or any of your layers, and it will give you a much smoother, even application. Can you see on this side how patchy the foundation looks? And I'm not even getting the coverage that I want because I'm swiping the product all over the place. Whereas on this side I have a smoother application with fuller coverage, despite using the same amount of product. Okay, I really hope this helped you out. Let me know in the comments what videos you want to see next.
I love her eyebrows. I love an eyebrow where you can see the hair. Do you know what I mean? Where you can see the strokes of hair. Okay, this is very much Katie Jane Hughes' method, where she loads up the brush. One thing I would say just very quickly, oh, those eyebrows are so fucking perfect. Ugh. I wish I had okay, anyway. You can absolutely apply your foundation like that. I use this brush and I literally just do this. But she's right when she's saying doing that is just going to move everything around. You do have to mix it up a little bit. So have I got makeup on this? Let me see if we can get... Oh, fuck it. Doing this and then tapping and mixing it up is a great way to do it. But yeah, absolutely, loading up your brush is fine. One thing I would say about your foundation and primer is that hopefully your foundation and primer are absorbed enough into your skin or sitting enough on your skin that they shouldn't be disturbed by the motion of your foundation application in whatever you're doing. If you have a layer of, if this is an issue for you, if your foundation is disturbing your primer, which isn't really something that's an issue for a lot of people, you're using too much. So that's one thing I would look out for. Sorry, I don't know what my words say. But that's a great tip. I like that tip. And also as well, talking about application like this, holding your brush, I think even she does it subconsciously here. She's holding her brush a little bit further down here. Whereas when she's doing it on the other side, she's holding it slightly, is that the It Cosmetics brush? Slightly higher up. So you can see here that her fingers are below, I have a brush. Her fingers are below these ridges here. And when she starts to apply here, you can see her fingers are above. And that is, she might be subconsciously doing it because she knows that holding your brush up here is going to give you a lighter, oh my God, why can't I fucking talk? A lighter application. So the further down you hold your brush, the stubbier your makeup is going to look. So yes, you could potentially be rubbing things away from the face and getting a streaky thing. Why did that take me so long to say? Okay, I did see a comment that says something about the brush, and it was said not to use a powder brush. You can absolutely use a dense powder brush for foundation. I actually prefer it for liquid foundations. Is that everything I have? Why are we gasping when powder gets wet and it disappears? We know how powder works, right? If powder gets wet, it's not staying dry. It's not a shocking moment. Anyway, let's carry on watching, sorry. Oh, sorry, I have a thing up on the screen still. Right, so you're baking as normal, which I despise. Why are you shocked though? What do you mean, wow? Sorry, why are we shocked that the powder's turned wet when we wet it? I'm never going to try that because I don't know how that works, but I believe I saw Rose from Rose and Ben do this, and I trust what she says. So I don't understand the shocked moment when we wet something dry and it becomes wet and disappears. That's whatever.
This is literally my favourite makeup hack ever. You can mix micellar water and any colour eyeshadow together to make your own DIY eyeliner. There's no need to buy millions of different eyeliners for different occasions when you can make your own. Look how pigmented that is compared to the eyeshadow. That is so cute. Let's go over the top with a nice bright pink. That is absolutely stunning. I love this hack. I'll definitely be using this again.
That does look cute. I would just be wary, right? A lot of people, especially that one, because that has oil in it. Be wary using micellar water. I know a lot of people use it for cut creases as well, but do bear in mind it is a makeup remover, right? So when people use it for cut creases, one thing I noticed about their cut creases is you can see where the micellar water has bled a little bit and it's kind of left a very fine, darker line around the thing. And the eyeshadow look tends to be a little bit patchy looking or a little bit uneven, which is fine, it happens. But it can be prevented if you don't use micellar water. Also, mixing in an oil with some powders can create almost like this clay-like texture, which can crumble easily. So if you are going to use something like that on a really high movement area, like the eyes or the lips, prepare for potential crumbling of the product because you're making like this clay And then, like, imagine it on the skin, right? Say we had a powder foundation and we mixed in an oil makeup remover. Now imagine it applying that to the face. It's going to come off like a cream texture, but in the areas where we move, it's going to start to crumble a little bit and not give us the best looking texture, you know what I mean? So just be careful with that. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. You can tag me in things, but a lot of time creators tend to block me when you tag me. Because they know why you've tagged me. You can send me a link to whatever you are wanting me to look at on Instagram, on TikTok, but also leave some context. Don't just send me a link because I'm at that age where people try and scam me. So do send me some context with the link. Thank you again for joining me. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you very soon. Bye.